In this bowl we have 60 grams of self-raising flour, and Graham is just putting in half a teaspoon of bicarb of soda. The bicarb just really helps the air pockets form, to be quite honest. And we are now going to add probably about 2 tablespoons of total fudge. If you watch this video right to the end, you will see my top tips right at the end of this video. But the key to this really is to mix it and just add a little bit of the yogurt a little bit at a time, because what you've got to do really is start to get it into a breadcrumb consistency in the beginning, as you will see Graham doing here. It does take a little bit of mixing, and it does take a little bit of practice and technique to get it right, but once you've cracked it, it's plain sailing. As you can see there, the mix isn't really coming together. What he's done is basically just made sure all the yogurt is distributed throughout the flour, and he's going to keep adding small amounts of the yogurt to the flour until he can bring it into a ball and all of the flour comes away from the sides of the bowl. As you can see there, the lumps are starting to get bigger, so it is starting to come together, but there's still not enough yogurt in there to bring it into one ball, if you like. And always add small amounts at a time when you get to this stage. The last thing you want is a really wet dough. If you've got a wet dough, you're going to need to add more flour to it, because you won't be able to roll it out and it'll just be really, really sticky. And as you can see there, it just comes together quite quickly. What Graham's doing there is just making sure that the mix isn't too wet. That's why he was pressing the back of the spoon into the flour, to make sure the spoon came away from the flour, or the dough, should I say. Because we are making two here, Graham's using a plate. It's just his preferred way of doing it. And as you'll see, he dusted it with flour. If you're only making one, then you don't need to do that. What you do need to do is to make sure that everything is well dusted with flour, your hands, the board and everything. It makes it so much easier to handle. If you are good at making bread, then you'll be great at making these. If, like me, you are not good at making bread, then it's going to take a little bit of practice, but don't give up. You know, my first few were absolutely dreadful, but you can get it right. This dough's quite robust as well. It will hold up to, you know, a good sort of rolling out as well. So don't be frightened of putting pressure through it. The key to this is to get the consistency, the thinness right, if you like. And again, that I think that depends on personal preference. If you really get it thin, then you'll get a really thin, crispy flatbread like I had last night. If you decide to leave it a little bit thicker, then you'll get sort of a thicker, spongier one. There is nothing wrong with either one of them. It's just down to personal preference. But keep flipping it over, as you'll see Graham doing there once you've rolled it. Just keep moving it around and keep flipping it. And don't worry too much about getting it into the right shape. Remember, it's only your family eating it, you know. There's no Nigella Lawson here. That's about the size that you're going to get. So that was a dessert spoon. So it's, you know, it's quite a substantial size flatbread. And remember, ever how much flour you use, you're going to need to add that into your daily dietary plan. Now you must dust the top of the flatbreads, okay, with flour. That will help when you're actually coming to cook them. This pan's been on the hob a while. Again, see the end of the video for the reasons why and the top tips here. You must also shake the pan as Graham's doing here to stop the flatbread sticking to the bottom of the pan. Don't be tempted to keep sort of turning it over. Leave it alone, and what you're looking for is these bubbles to appear on the top. The pan must be absolutely screaming hot. You know, you should really be able to see the smoke coming off from the oil that you've sprayed on it. Whilst you're leaving the pan to heat up, don't spray any oil on, only spray the oil before you put the flatbreads in. And as you can see there, you've got bigger air pockets forming, and that's exactly what you're looking for. As you can see there, Graham's just had a little look, and it's not dark enough or sort of cooked enough on the bottom, so just leave it. It usually takes about a minute and a half each side to get the flatbreads cooked. And there you go. There's a nice colour on it, some nice charred bits off where you dusted it with flour.
Thank you for watching, and I hope that answered any questions that you may have on making flatbreads. I thought I would quickly come on and just give you a few little top tips that may not have been made as clear in the video as they could have been. This is what we used, and it's the Total Farge 0%. If you're following a diet plan, don't use fat-free yogurt, the stuff that easily pours. It needs to be this thick set consistency, okay? It won't work if you use the runny stuff. It won't be able to roll it out, you won't be able to handle it, okay? So it needs to be that sort of thick set stuff. You can make these in any flavour, garlic and coriander, chilli, and the list goes on. You can make them as big as you want or as small as you want. If you use less flour, use less yogurt, and again, the opposite applies if you make it bigger. You can make this dough ahead, but only probably by about an hour because it's self-raising flour. So as soon as the yogurt hits the flour, it'll start the activation and the rising process. So only probably by about an hour you'll get away with. This is the pan I used, and as you, it's quite a heavy pan. This was on the hob for about 10 minutes on a medium-high heat, and you really do need to get the heat into the pan. The way you know it's time to add your flatbread is just put your hand above the top of the pan, and if you pull it away quickly because it's too hot, your hand's too hot, then that's the time to add the flatbread. If you add it when the pan is cold, you won't get that quick rise in action going on because you're looking for it to create like pockets of air and bubbles. And when you saw Graham shake the pan, that was to make sure that the dough didn't stick to the bottom of the pan, okay? So they're kind of some of my top tips. The other one is just keep practicing. My first few were absolutely dreadful, okay? Even the birds didn't eat them. So just keep practicing and keep sort of having a go at them. It will happen. It does take a little bit of patience, a bit of technique and those kinds of things. And lastly, if you do decide to make them, then please tag me in on your creations. My Instagram is julesmithy_JS, or if you're watching this on Facebook, it is Jules the Lazy Cook. And thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.